Alright, so here we have it. Same shirt, I put a cardboard mold around it. Different people use different things. You don't need a mold at all. Some people have plastic bins that have drip trays in the bottom, and then they put the shirt on top so any liquid can drip through the drip tray and collect in the bottom. Any way you want to fasten it. What this does is it just makes it easier to pile on the ice in a nice even way without it falling off the sides, falling onto the ground, just giving yourself more work. So, you want to take ice. Any size will do, but we want to get a full coverage here without over soaking it. If you get too much water on, it's going to run the colors so that they first of all go all the way through the shirt, so you can't do a second side. And second, it's going to get rid of a lot of the potency. It's going to water it down. So you want to use flatter ice cubes if you can, but if all you have is thicker ones, whatever, that's fine. You want pretty much total coverage. You don't want to see very much of the shirt. You want the ice to be built up enough that the powder dye won't go directly onto the material, but at the same time, you don't want to build it up so much that it oversaturates it. So this is about right. A few more. Oh, it's about perfect. There we go. So you can still see a few little holes within the shirt, if you can see from that angle, but not many. It is all going to melt together and turn into one. So for this next part, we're going to put on the dye. Now I'm going to have to wear a mask for this, and I highly recommend you do too. You probably will. Tie-dye is carcinogenic. You really don't want to breathe it in. I've heard that it won't so much cause a permanent, death or anything like that, but you'll create an allergy for yourself, so you can't tie-dye anymore. Wear a mask. Something like this. If you don't have a painter's mask like that, that's fine. Just get a disposable one. Something like this works perfectly well. I'd recommend one with a valve. The really cheap ones that don't have valves, you don't really breathe through the fabric much. You usually breathe through the holes in the side of the mask where they connect to your face. They don't work. Get something with a valve on it. So what we're going to do is two sides here. The first side, I recommend, this is the top side by the way, and you can tell the top side because of the tag on the back of the shirt. So you want the back of the shirt on top, and you want the front of the shirt side on the bottom at this point. And the reason is generally it looks best, I find, if you have the dark on the back and the brighter colors on the front. As you can see here, if you have dark and light, you create a sort of dynamic relationship between the two and it causes it to pop. Whereas if you're doing two colors that are similar, like blue and green or yellow and orange on the two different sides, they're going to blend together. It's going to look like one piece. It's going to look good. It's going to have a sweet texture, but it's not going to really pop and get potent lines and, like stand out in people's vision. So for this one, get two opposing colors. Do the dark one first. So now you just want to let it melt. You want to let all the ice disappear essentially, unless you can see underneath and you can see that it's about to become entirely saturated. If you're on a rack that's sort of like this one where you can see underneath, you can check that out. If the color's about to soak all the way through the shirt so that you don't see any white anymore, then you'll have a one-sided shirt. You won't be able to do the two colors. It'll still look good, but you won't be able to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish here. So the first few, at least, I would say, try and keep an eye on it. Look on the underside, if at all possible, and if you get to the point where the dye has gone all the way through the shirt, then take it off. When there's just a little bit of white, when you can see the top layer of the shirt on the underside is still white, remove the rest of the dye in the ice, flip it over, and we'll do the other side. So, here we are a few hours later. All the ice is melted away. Flip her over. Good. So you can see that the colors have come through most of the way, leaving just a little bit of white. That's exactly what you want. So there'll be lots of opportunity for the two colors to meet and mesh and get lots of strong lines in between. So the first thing you want to do here is add soda ash. All the water that's gone through it has diluted the shirt, so a lot of the soda ash that was there in the beginning is going to be gone. You should do this with a mask, but so I can continue talking, here we go. You don't need much, just a thin sprinkling all the way over. And this will melt into the shirt as the second layer of ice melts. Alright. There we go. Now we'll do the exact same thing with the ice. Beauty. Now for this side I'm going to use a lot more colors than I did for the other one. The other one was to represent the sort of darkness of outer space. And you'll take your own creative stint here, but I'll probably use at least 10-12 colors for this part. Alright, so there we are. Now you just gotta bring it someplace warm, let it melt, and let it soak for, about 24 hours is what you want. And if at all possible, help some of the liquid evaporate. You might have a home heater you can use or something like that. You just don't want it sopping wet, because then not as much color is actually going to take to the fabric, because the water is going to be taking the spot of the dye. Then you rinse it out, wash it with Synthropol or Dyer soap, and you're done.